Hi, I'm Dave Barnes.
And I'm John McLaughlin.
And welcome to Dadville.
Dadville's a podcast where we talk about life, love, and the pursuit of awesome dadding.
It's funny thoughts and deep talks.
So please, enjoy your time here in Dadville and enjoy this episode with... Any Downs.
Hey, John.
Hey, Dave.
Can I talk to the people?
Oh. Yeah.
No, you too. I mean, I'm involving you, but I want it to be like for everybody. Okay.
But you're not talking to me.
Well, I am. If you pay attention, I am.
Okay.
Here we go. Hey, everybody. We told you about our friends.
Me.
Well, it's including
it's
you.
Fine.
I feel like
it's fine.
It's making this about you, and I want to make it about
later.
Thistle Farms. That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. We told you about our friends at Thistle Farms who provide free housing, trauma therapy, and safe employment for women survivors of trafficking, prostitution, and addiction.
And, Dave, but I'm talking to the people.
Okay.
They also have the best home goods and body products,
yes.
all made by survivors as they heal together in community. They're based here in Nashville,
That's right.
but have a network of over 500 beds for women around the country through their partner organizations, in addition to international programs that employ women with a more than fair trade model in 21 countries.
Their global products are epic. John.
Epic.
The handmade leather goods, wallets, journals, laptop sleeves, and their hand-carved wooden kitchen decor. All of it is something I'd buy for myself or be ready to gift anyone in the family. It's great stuff.
Yeah, and clearly we have become big fans of Thistle Farms. So we encourage you to head over to thistlefarms.org if you're looking for a gift that you know makes a huge impact on someone's life. Yeah. And hey, the holidays are upon us, people.
They are.
And if your company gives corporate gifts, look no further than the wide variety of gift sets hand-packed by the women of Thistle Farms.
Awesome dadding requires modeling the values and practices that we hope to instill in our kids. That's why buying products and giving gifts that are more than just things is a perfect opportunity to model generosity and intentionality.
And their products are more than just uplifting.
Yep.
They are stunning. My wife, my mom, my nieces, all going to love these candles, gift sets, and jewelry. So, friends, please join me in visiting thistlefarms.org, and we can all start shopping for gifts that give twice at 15% off when we enter the code DADVILLE at checkout.
That's 15% off your order when you enter the code DADVILLE.
How do we even start? Do y'all start? Because
I
it's your
actually thought
show?
about this. Can we dual start?
Yep. On the count of three, we're all going to say whatever we'd say to start the show.
Okay.
One, two, three. Welcome
Jesus,
to Dadville.
Jesus, come to you today.
Dadville.
Oh, I prayed.
I'm
I'm
your
sorry.
host.
I didn't.
I'm your host.
I prayed. What did y'all do?
We should all say, I'm your host.
I'm your host, John McLaughlin.
Dave. Oh, Danny.
Oh, I thought we were
Shoot.
rotating.
Okay.
I did this wrong. Welcome to the 100th episode of Dadville.
No one else has introduced it.
Can I ask you this?
This is going to be great.
100 episodes. For you, it's like,
How many
that's
are
so
you in the
cute.
thousands yet?
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm still in three digits.
Where
I'm
are
with
you?
you. I'm in three digits.
Where are you
Okay.
though? Sevens,
Jeez.
I think. Early sevens. Yeah.
That's
But
amazing.
y'all, 100 is no joke when you started this thinking this will be fun and you did like 12.
You could have also said it's no joke when it's the two of y'all,
Yeah.
and that would have been appropriate.
Yeah. And we're still
It's
friends.
all jokes.
We're still on speaking terms.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
If you didn't live across the street, would you still be friends? Or would you have found a way, John,
we
to
would
get
be
out of this?
so much closer.
If you didn't have to see each other.
Yeah, John is like this guy. Guy.
We're going to jump around, as y'all tend to do on Dadville as well. Who's the big fish? Who's the guest that, like, there's no way you'll ever get them, but you're going to say their name just in case?
Jesus.
He's always with
He's
us.
on
Thank
every
you.
podcast.
He's always with
There
us.
we go.
No, John. I think I can answer John's.
Okay, you say who John would like, and John, you say who.
I don't know. I have a long list, but there is someone who came top of mind.
Yeah.
Is it? Should we say it at the same time?
Yeah. One,
One,
two,
two,
three.
three.
Peyton Manning.
Wow. Did you know that was his?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Indiana stuff?
Yeah, I just love
They were
Peyton
best
Manning.
friends all through high school, and they had a falling out. And it's nice.
had a
He
falling
just wants
out.
to make amends at this point.
We did a couple episodes of a podcast that never came out. No, I just love Peyton Manning, and it's funny because I now don't know anything about football. I don't follow the NFL. I do a fantasy draft, but I never know my login. But I was way into the NFL when Peyton Manning was playing. I just love Peyton Manning. And some friends of mine have sort of become friends of his.
Well, I mean, Drew is.
Yeah.
Drew's friends with them.
You've got multiple connections.
Yeah. But apparently he and they all are just like, he's just the greatest.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
He's as awesome as you want him to be. He just, I don't think he does he's not going to come on a podcast and talk about his family for 7 hours.
Maybe.
You know?
Does he have kids? Is he the one that has the kid that's really good at football too?
That's his nephew.
Ah, okay.
The irony of that, which is
that
always
would have been a great question for him.
Great to me is that it's the brother
who didn't.
Who got hurt I think early on, and so his son is the one is young Archie, who's like tearing the world apart with his football skills
as a 18-year-old, 17-year-old or something?
Yeah, he's a
not
senior
in college
in high
yet,
school.
right?
Yeah.
Look
why do
at
I know
you.
all this?
Jeez.
God, that's creepy.
Sportsy dad.
But could you imagine that your two uncles and grandfather are that? That you're like, just a quick question for you. I mean, like,
well, it's kind of like my whole family's CPAs. Like, it's just a family business.
Yeah.
And so you kind of grow up going like, well, yeah, everybody does math.
Yeah.
And in his family, it's like, yeah, everybody plays professional sports.
Yeah. At a insanely high level.
Yeah. Okay, so Peyton Manning, we'll get him. We'll ask around. If anybody knows Peyton, just send this over.
Peyton, if you're listening, we assume you are. We always assume you are.
That's what hurts even more. He listens to every episode.
It's so annoying.
He just won't come on.
Dave, who's yours?
You know who mine would probably be, because I think we would just giggle so hard, is Martin Short.
Oh my gosh.
I would love to have Martin Short on.
And I know, I don't even know why I would say something like this, but you get those feelings where you're just like, I think he would do it.
We would have, maybe.
If we could just get to him, I think he would do it.
Martin Short to me is
I think his friends call him Marty, if y'all want to
Marty,
do that.
they do.
Marty.
Yeah,
Okay.
they do.
Yeah.
I think he's probably the funniest human alive.
Mm-hmm.
He, to me, nobody in any room is ever going to be funnier than him.
No.
Nobody.
I agree.
No
I didn't
way.
know you felt that strongly about Marty.
I love him. I think he is so funny. I don't know how you're a fan of like an act, you know what I mean? It's not like a music, like a band you follow every album. I guess maybe you do with their movies. But anyway, I love him. I'm not like thinking about Marty Short every day, but I just think he would be so much fun to interview. I think that's why I think of him as like the top. I mean, like John, I have a million, but he's the one that if somebody was like, if you could play like the golden ticket and they had to come on, actually that'd be tough. There'd be a few of those. Paul McCartney would be up there.
It's a long
Will
list.
Ferrell would be really fun.
Yeah,
but but I think
all the
quick answer,
comedians
he's one.
like have such reverence for him. They all talk about how he's just kind of like the GOAT.
I just think we would laugh a lot, like a lot.
We already laugh a lot.
We already do. It'd be even more laughter. If
y'all would both have to have such a level of self-control with Marty Short to not try to make him laugh.
See, I come at I'm like, I want it to get out. I want it to be almost unusable.
Because you're trying to make him laugh so
just
much?
whatever. Like, let's get weird. Let's see where it goes.
But the thing is that whenever we have someone on the podcast who is known to be funny, you got them, whoever they are, and then Dave. And so I go the other way. I'm like, I'm going to
we know there are
half
episodes
asleep.
people aren't sure you're in the room.
Right.
So.
That also is my fault.
No, it's not.
We had Chip
No,
Dodd
it
on
is.
the first. No, listen to John. When we had Chip Dodd on the first time, because he's come on the second time because of what I'm about to say. Because we got done with the podcast and I looked over and I was like, oh, John, remember?
Oh,
I mean, I just couldn't stop asking questions. Like he would. It felt like it was like a joke toward me. That it was like everything he said queued up something I was fascinated with, and I did not have the discipline to be like, give John a second to say something. I would just launch in, and literally toward the last probably 10 minutes of the podcast, I sort of looked at John and I was just like, I'm so sorry.
So when Chip came back on, did you ask
John
the
got to run it.
I
John
didn't even
ran
come.
that
I didn't
thing.
know he came back on. No, I'm kidding. It was much better.
No, it's the truth. It hurts. But
No,
it's
it's
the
much
truth.
better in terms of me getting to ask my questions. But so here is a question that I have for you, Annie.
Ooh.
And this would be a question that I want to ask any podcaster at your level who's crushing it in the podcast world. Because like when we had Chip on that first time, Dave and Chip are having this conversation and it's great. And I'm thinking, this is always something that I have an eye on, is that I never want to jump into something just so that I jump in.
Yeah.
Like if the whole episode happens and I don't say anything, but it's a great episode, I don't need to say something. And I don't know if, maybe we could like pool our listeners, and there may be different opinions on that because
I don't
people
want
are.
to pull because I'm
Do you
scared.
want to pull them?
I'm so scared.
Or do y'all want to pull them?
Well,
Because if
this
you
Dadville.
pull them, they're going to have to swim.
Is it
Yeah.
pool? Is it poll?
Poll.
Pull, P-O-L-L?
Oh, like POL. Yeah, you're right.
But you can also pull
they
them.
can put
Oh, yeah,
all
yeah,
their opinions in like a pool.
Yeah, I hear you now. I hear you. You're going to pull them. You're going
does-
to.
In that moment,
does
I was
play.
sure it was
works.
pool.
That
You're
plays
right.
actually.
Okay.
But what
you're
would you
right.
like to pull them about?
No, but I'm just saying, like, where is your mind on that in terms of, like, as a podcast host, you're constantly having conversations with people who you're having to decide, okay, do we jump in here? Or, like, this is great. Let's just let them tell the story. Or when you have multiple guests on, you know what I mean? How do you handle that?
I mean, I think the math is the guest should be at least half the talking, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
And then y'all should be splitting the other half.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's because
But
here's what.
Is it too late to start over?
It's
How do you
Is
redo
100
episodes?
feels like a good place to read it.
here's what. Well, that's. I mean, the reality is your listeners come because of the two of you, right? Your listeners like both of you, and so they need Dave to talk and they need John to talk. But some of them are also coming because Chip Dodd is one of the most brilliant people, and because Marty Short's the funniest comedian ever.
Right.
And so they want to. The guests are there on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So I think thinking like a 50, 25, 25.
But like if you have somebody on,
Uh-huh.
and I'm sure this happened probably numerous times, where you look up and you're like, they have talked 95% of the time, but it was good. You're like, that was great.
Yeah, yes. I probably would interrupt enough that
Okay.
they don't talk 95% of the time. I probably, because there's only one of me, I'm probably more 70-30 than
Yeah.
50-50. Whereas
Yeah,
I'm asking
yeah.
questions, I'm interacting, I'm responding, so I'm probably more 70-30.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's fascinating to me. I mean, that whole...
It's
You
a
know,
dance every time. Do you feel like
it
y'all are
is.
getting as a listener, I feel like y'all's skills as interviewers are growing and getting better, as they rightly should. You're 100 episodes in. Do y'all feel like you're better at it than when you started? Better at interviewing?
I think, yes, I do. I think we're
Yeah.
better. The thing I was going to say is, and you helped me a lot with this, Annie, like there really are so many ways to do it.
Yeah.
So, and I know you know this better than we do, 7 times better than we do. But like, you'll kind of look up and go, oh, that podcast was much more top of mind
Yeah.
and less anything I had thought about talking about,
Yes.
but was wonderful.
Yeah.
Like we really just sort of jumped in the river and went with it.
Yeah.
And then at the end, you're like, there are 7 questions I wanted to get to and I didn't, and that was fine.
Yeah.
There's others where it's like we stuck to the script and I wonder if we should have ventured out more. Then there's the middle. But it's like I think that's probably been one of the most fun things about I think what I've learned probably the most is like, and John and I have had a lot of fun sort of dabbling in both where like we'll have certain ones where we're like, hey, I think this is one where let's just get in there and talk.
Yeah.
And then we'll just talk and it's so much fun because we know the guest enough to kind of know let's just catch up and then sort of ask some questions we'd probably ask anyway. And there's other times where we're like, no, let's really have a script here because I think it's going to serve everybody better. One, because we're either going to get, like, sometimes I find with the bigger names, it's kind of better to have a little bit of knowing where you're going to go because you know if you don't, you're about to go rogue and it could get really weird because
And
you
they're
haven't
more
learned questions.
disciplined because they're professionals at being interviewed.
Right.
So they
Right.
stop.
Right.
They answer the question, they stop.
Yeah.
And if you are expecting a conversation, you're scared.
That-
Well, the first, I don't know how many episodes. I mean, the first maybe 50, 60, 70 episodes, we were like scripted.
Yeah.
I mean, we had them like Dave starts
Yeah,
with this,
yeah.
and then John says this, and
Yeah.
then we have slowly, I mean, I feel like pretty recently, maybe last spring, kind of changed. We had like one interview that we did where we kind of just never got to what we prepared, and it was such a fun
great.
interview. And then we did, I think the Kirk Herbstreit episode was the one
Love that one.
that was the most, like we never even did the brag sheet, I think. We just
Oh,
yeah,
I
but
know.
He
because you
popped
had
up.
read his book, you had read his whole book.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so you were able to just like talk.
right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what we have, at least at the moment, we've sort of landed. I mean, it's different when we have people like Chip Dodd on, where we have some like an expert in the room when we want to
Yeah.
get to some stuff. But now our plan is like we do our homework, we have our questions, but that's plan B.
Yeah.
We just kind of see what the vibe is, and then if we need to go down to, plan B, we can.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
It's John and
Dave.
John and Dave. They love
Telling
their
jokes.
coffee. They want to drink coffee till the morning comes. That's pretty good. I felt good.
Till the morning.
Yeah. Then you start over.
Oh, man. Dave,
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
you believe this is our 100th episode of
Well, that's
Dadville?
kind of why I started with a song. It felt like let's really bring in the joy.
Yep. I get that.
And it's 100 consecutive days that I've woke up with a fresh cup of methodical coffee.
Oh,
the
the
streak
streak
continues. People
continues.
said I couldn't do it, John. I wake up to people on the street, and
Why
they're like,
do they
"You
keep
can't
saying
do
it?"
And I'm like, watch
Because you're
me.
doing it. Look,
Watch
as an elite coffee influencer,
Yeah.
I admire your
Listen,
dedication to the craft.
John, I've seen your work. I have seen your work, and the artistic expression is exquisite.
Look, I appreciate that. You
Yeah.
know, it's something I've dedicated my life to in a way that a lot
yeah.
of people
No.
can't
I see
understand.
the scars on your
And it's
face.
what has led our award-winning podcast to a signature
That's right.
methodical
That's right.
coffee blend, the Dadville blend.
Listen. People out there, like, we love Dadville.
Yep.
We love coffee.
Can we drink it?
Can we drink Dadville? I'm drinking it right now, and so the answer is yes, folks. Methodical roast their coffee to best express the life it lived, the place, the weather, the soil, and to honor the skilled people who cultivated it.
And did you know this? Methodical roast coffee to order, so you always receive the freshest beans possible.
I taste hints of chocolate, graham, and brown sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Visit methodicalcoffee.com for more information and use the discount code DADVILLE for 10% off your first order.
Spoiler, I know exactly what I'm getting you for Christmas.
Oh
Just
my
FYI.
gosh, I'm going to get you the same thing. So listen, don't forget to visit methodicalcoffee.com for more information and use the discount code DADVILLE for 10% off your first order.
Which guest, John, has changed how you dad?
Man, good luck with this one.
It's coming to you next, broski.
Nope.
Stephen James,
Yeah.
I think, was the first. What was that, like our third, fourth
It was really early.
episode? I think he was the guest who brought in some like fundamental things that I hadn't heard before, and it really like changed. I mean, I feel like I say this all the time on the podcast now, but he was the first guest who pointed out how much of my own stuff I'm projecting onto my kids constantly.
Oh, wow.
In every scenario where I'm worried about something, it's like, well, check first to see, like, is this actually an issue, or is this something from your childhood that you're projecting onto them, and then you're worrying about it because
Yeah.
it's not going to go the way, I mean, that was a huge. Even if I only learned that from the podcast, that has really like shaped
Wow.
my parenting.
What about you, Dave? Who's shaped your dadding?
I knew most of it. So for me, it's
I've
really
been
about
pretty
helping
good
John.
at
It's kind of
this.
review.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just knowing John. I'm like,
And it's such a joy for me to
Yeah.
see you watch me learn.
What a gift to know everything and to watch someone else who doesn't.
honestly, it's so overwhelming. It's like I would have to break mine almost into genres because it's like I think when we have Steven or Chip or
Or the mayor.
Al
Or the mayor.
or Chad or
Yeah.
well, that's a separate one to me.
oh,
so it's
the mayor's
like
separate. Okay.
kind of my life. I feel like a lot of what they say, I'm going, gosh, I need to work on some things in me, right?
Got it.
That then
Okay.
affect how I dad.
Yeah,
But this
yeah.
is about me, internal tweaking.
Yes.
Then you have on the mayor, the mayette. They're saying things. I'm like, okay, that is me, but it's also directly how I'm
Tools
parenting.
with my
yes,
children.
like it's tools how to
Yes,
parent.
yes.
It's not like where I feel like those experts are like Miles. It's like tools
Yes.
for me. This is
Yeah.
just for me, and then that
Yeah.
is going to affect how I parent.
Yeah.
But then you have on, Sissy and David, and it's like this is tools for parenting.
Yes.
So like this is where it's just a plug and play into relationships and how to do that. And then then you think about John Mark Comer and some of the spiritual sort of gurus, and it's like that's a whole other thing of things you're like, holy cow. And then
Yeah.
and then what's so great to me, and it sounds like maybe I'm playing this up, but I really mean it. I think some of the coolest ones to me are the ones where it is people that you wouldn't necessarily suspect that they're going to drop some like wisdom bomb. And it's like an athlete or a friend or a musician or whatever, and then they say something and you're like, oh my, and it's almost because you're thinking, you're thinking this is going to be so much fun and it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
But then they say something and you're like, oh my gosh. I mean, I quote Mike Donahue on this all the time.
Who I think y'all are so similar.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I call him Mike just for,
Yeah.
But,
Mike Donahue.
But Mike said something about, and we talked about this in a couple podcasts since. But like, he said the thing he noticed. He said, whenever I see families that are close, where the kids are adults, and they're still close to their parents, like they want to go home for Christmases, they want to bring their kids home and stuff. He's like, I always ask them. I'm like, hey, how have you done this? I ask the parents, like the grandparents at that point, like, how have you created a place where your kids want to come home, or how did you foster that spirit with your kids? And he said it's always some version of the same thing, which is just always be interested. Like just always pay attention, be interested.
Yeah.
And so, that's something David Thomas should say or Sissy should say.
Right.
But then you have Mike, and it was like, I've thought about that quote so much.
Yes.
Like, and so when my kid goes, hey, Dad, and I'm in the middle of something, I go, be interested. And sometimes I do that well, sometimes I don't. But hopefully I look up and I go, yeah, what's going on? And they go, hey, can I show you this thing? Where I think, again, I would have expected a quote-unquote expert to say that. But so that's also what's fun, and I hope that people enjoy, is that you do get these little nuggets where you're probably not expecting them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the like really simple, seemingly innocuous things that some guests say. Like we did a man cave episode.
Yeah.
And a friend of ours said that one of his favorite things about being a dad is watching his kids like experience the world, and like their sort of like wide-eyed wonder at things that we don't even notice anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, like that for some reason that just like has kind of stuck with me, and sort of in the kind of the way that you're describing, like it's just kind of top of mind, and it helps me just be a little bit more present in a moment with my girls in, again, just like really like mundane random moments.
Yeah.
And make no mistake, like this needs to be documented. Like this is a selfish pursuit for John and I.
Whenever Dave, I feel like a well-worn sort of thought path that we have is Dave will say, if we're talking about some sort of idea or an episode or a topic or whatever, and he'll be like, I just don't want it to be sort of like self-aggrandizing. And I'm like, well, then we should shut the podcast down. This whole thing is self-aggrandizing.
Right.
But like it's just, I mean, I feel like so much of my growth as a human and parent has come from these interviews.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, at some point, and not to be rude, I'm like, I don't care what people think. This is so helpful for my life.
Yeah.
And I'm thrilled that people do enjoy it, but it really is like, it has changed so much about myself, like interviewing these people. So I think that's what's really fun too, is it would be one thing if it was an act of service, but it's not. I mean, I hope that it serves people, but it's really like, we get so excited about talking to people and hearing what they have to say. So you sort of wish it could be like, everybody, this is for you guys. John and I know these things, but we're just as, new to some of these thoughts as everybody is. So it's really fun that way.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, both of you, I did some fast math, and at this point, both of you have been parenting, being a dad, for a quarter of your life.
Yeah.
Right? So a fourth of your life, you've been a parent.
Yep.
So that means 3/4 of your life you haven't been.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of interesting, because what we have learned about the friends listening on the other side is they're actually not all parents.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why are there so many people listening to Dadville that aren't parents?
I mean, my first thought is, I think things that are interesting and wise are always interesting and wise. It doesn't matter the context, And so that's my hope, at least, is that, I mean, that's really been always something that we have hoped, that John and I have hoped, is that anybody can listen.
Yeah.
And I have Annie and I help lead young adults at the church we go to.
Your wife, Annie.
Yeah, my wife,
Which is
Annie,
different
sorry.
than me, for everybody.
I do like to speak to you in third person when you're around. But
Amy and I are involved in the church too. Go ahead.
And your young adults. So it's all there.
Not anymore. He crossed over.
Oh, he crossed over to the other side. It's all downhill. Numerous of these young adults will tell me, like, oh, I love the episode with whatever. And I'm like, you listen to this? Like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Because I hope it, it's again, interesting is always interesting, and I think wisdom is always wisdom.
Yeah.
So I hope that
Well, and everybody has parents.
I mean, by the math of it.
Can that be the new
We
tag
all-
of Dadville?
yeah.
Everybody has parents.
Yeah. So everybody's been on one side. Everybody's 100% of their
Yeah.
life been
Everyone's a part of this
child.
equation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, like, when I was 24, I always wanted to be a dad for sure, but would I have listened to Dadville? I don't know.
I will say this.
If you were fans of the artists,
Yeah,
they were
that's
making
fair.
it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think something, man, I think something that I'm constantly reminded of doing Dadville is that there is something born into us that never leaves. Like God has put in everybody. And it is a desire to be close to your parents, to be loved by your parents.
Yeah.
You can't shake it. You cannot shake it. I don't care how much somebody can sit in this room and be like, I hate my parents. You only hate them because you love them, right? You don't hate them for no reason. Like you want it to be good and it's not.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of love is not hate.
that-
It's indifference.
That's right.
Yes,
That's
yes.
right. That's exactly right. So I think too, there's an inherent interest to some degree about that. Just
Yeah.
parenting and even if you don't have kids, just thinking about how parents think and maybe
Yeah.
there's always, even at the most subconscious level, I think there's a want for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do wonder at times if that's some of why people listen, is just to hear people talk about that may land some planes in their own
Yeah.
mind
That's
or
interesting.
something, So I don't know. But it's true. I mean, like we ask those two questions at the end of every podcast, and some version of the same thing is always said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you want your kids to succeed. You want them to be loved. You want them to feel loved by you.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever it's amazing when you really think about it. Of the 90 guests or 85 guests, whatever we've had, nobody has ever been for them to make a bunch of money.
Yeah.
I want them to own numerous properties.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want them to be
Right.
famous. I
Yeah.
want them to.
Gosh, I can't imagine a parent saying that y'all would interview saying,
Yeah.
what do you want for your kids? I
Right.
really want them to be famous.
Yeah.
I want them to be known at the grocery store when they wish
Right,
they could just
right,
be invisible.
right.
No, you don't.
It's always the same thing. And so
It's
I think-
always that the first question is always that that the kids know that they are loved unconditionally. The
Yeah.
second is always some version of I hope that they really knew me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Known and loved is
Yeah.
always some version of
That's
that.
it.
I mean, Andrew Peterson's answer about friends was, I was done. That was
Oh,
the end of me.
gosh.
That was the
me
end
too.
of me.
Yeah.
Nobody had said that, and I was like, that is one of the most articulate answers I've ever heard.
And
for that
what
question.
y'all done so good at having dads on who are in a different life place than you, as well as dads who are in the thick of it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Andrew's out of the thick of it. His
Yeah.
boys are married. His
Yeah.
daughter's grown up.
Yeah.
And so his answer was so oh yeah, 20.
That's right.
When 50% of your life has been parenting, this is what you hope.
Well, that's John and I talk about this off the podcast all the time. I mean, something John says all the time is one, just like, God, you're such a great dad and handsome and podcast host to me. But the other thing that he always says,
on the card
Close.
that you gave me.
yeah, dude, I tell you to say that, and I give you the card. But the other thing that he always says that I think is so true is the end game here is that your kids want to come home. That the girls want to come back to he and Amy and spend Christmases with their kids or without the kids, whatever. And it's true. So it's just always a reminder. It's like that thing. I think we've had numerous guests say this. You write your obituary. Those writing exercises where it's write that now, because it really tells you about what you want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But asking those questions, those last two questions, it's always front of mind. It just sort of
Yeah.
reminds you there's an end game here.
Yeah.
And I think to John's point, you want your kids, to Andrew's point, you want to be close to your kids. You want them to feel safe. You want them to come home again. You want them to feel like home is a place that they want to be.
Yeah.
And so I think hearing that, it just is a good exercise for both of us to remember, okay, that is what we're trying to do here. Because in the middle of it, it's there's times I'm I don't know if I want to see my kids for a week.
Right.
I'm ready to drive and never come home. You know what I mean?
I'll take them.
You will.
I will.
I'll
in
call
a
you.
heartbeat.
This is the great thing about you, Annie. You will
Yeah,
take
I will
them.
take either of y'all's
You will.
You're the
children for a
contingency
window
plan.
of time.
Yes.
A window of time.
Yeah.
John, he's running so fast because he's John.
Hey, Dave. I don't know. That wasn't the best.
No,
but
I know.
Yours
Hey,
was so good. And I just
Well, I want to pass through it because it kind of hurts that you didn't spend more time.
Okay.
preparing with it. What has been the most important lesson you've learned as a dad? This is a big one. I'm going hot.
a lot.
Yeah.
Like on our most recent man cave episode, I learned how to kind of somewhat safely throw your child in the air and catch him.
Sweet buddy, he's going to be arrested in the next week, most likely. Listen, that was an important lesson. I was recently just thinking of lessons I learned as a kid. The ones that have stuck with me, like how to modulate a bridge or that sound of the first chord in A Hard Day's Night.
Those lessons can stick with a kid
They
forever.
can.
And that's why, Dave, fostering a lifelong love of learning for our children is so important. So why not make learning fun? That's what I say.
Listen, can I tell you something? KiwiCo is defining the future of play by making it engaging, enriching, and seriously entertaining. That's the 3 E's we call it in the
That's
biz.
right.
The
That's right.
KiwiCo subscription delivers super cool hands-on projects for kids and kids at heart of all ages.
I got to tell you,
Okay.
I love KiwiCo.
Yep.
I love these projects
Yep.
because it gets my kids away from the screens.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And I feel like I can see them building confidence
Yeah.
in themselves. They're like, they build the thing and they're like, I can't believe I just built
Guess
that.
what? They're building something, and they're also building confidence.
That's
Good
right.
gracious, guys. Your child can get super cool hands-on science, art, and geography projects delivered right to their door every month.
You'll be surprised at how high quality the materials are, too. These are real engineering, science, and art projects for children.
Yeah. Give them the tools to learn new skills, build new experiences, and make new connections to the broader world. The best part? Watching their confidence grow as big as their smiles. Yeah.
Spark the love of learning today with a KiwiCo subscription.
Get 50% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line with the code DADVILLE at kiwico.com.
That's 50% off your first month at KIWICO.com, promo code DADVILLE.
I think it's really interesting. One of the things we track at That Sounds Fun Network is not only how many people are listening, but how long they listen to each episode. It's an important stat. It tells you a couple things. It tells you, are our shows the right length? Are people still interested? Is there a point where they drop off or whatever? And y'all have a really great listen through rate. And I wonder if it's because of those last 2 questions.
Oh, yeah.
I think people want to hear the guests say those last 2 questions of what do you want your kid to say when you die? I think people want to hear that. So I think that's really interesting that is what matters to y'all too, because the stats say that's what matters to our friends listening to.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And they want to hear those ads.
No one does it better than y'all. No one does it better than y'all.
Look, when we were talking a little bit ago about how this is a selfish pursuit, I mean, it's all true. I agree with what you said, but like, one of my favorite things is just getting together and recording these ads. And again,
and our
even
ad
if we weren't
partners
even
love
recording
it.
them, we laugh so much.
We had a moment. John came in, which this is so rare for John. It's much more on brand for me. But John had kind of a tough couple days before we did the ads last time. And this has never happened
John.
ever. But it was like he sat down. I kind of like, because John's just steady as it comes.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be listening. That's not who I want you to be. You be whoever you want.
I'm your rock.
But
tell you
John
that
is
all
so
the
steady.
time. I'm
He's so
your
steady.
rock.
He's so steady. And I could tell, we talked, and he just had a rough couple days.
Yeah.
And it was hysterical doing these ads because we started doing it. John, you could hear John trying to sort of
Rev
pull
it up.
himself.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
we're so,
on the cliff. I'm just trying to get up to the ground.
like we did
level.
our first. I remember it was like, we started all like John, then he's like Dave, and it was like John. Hey Dave, and I was like, oh, okay,
Let's go.
Dave, we got to knock this out.
yeah, we
I got
got
places to be.
But hey, and then I think I texted you afterward when I'm walking home.
How'd you have
across the
time?
street.
I was about to say, how'd you get a text out? It's one house over.
I walk over and it was just a rough. It had just been a rough couple of days, and then I walk back home and I'm like, I feel so much better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's so great.
yeah. Those are It's
You gave me a little cash, which that helped too.
I hit him with a 5 spot to Taqueria del Sol. But yeah, those really are fun. I mean, you just hope that you just don't want click through. What is some way we can get people that
know.
even if they're not interested in whatever we're advertising, that they're like, well, hold on, we don't know.
Well, the reality is, y'all do such a great job of making sure you only partner with brands that you really like. Like y'all are, when our sales team offers you, hey, this company loves you guys and wants to be on the show, y'all are like, We need to see the product. We
Yeah.
need to try it ourselves. We need to, because y'all have such high trust with your listeners.
Yeah.
And so we all know the ads are funny, and also it's stuff y'all really are like.
Yeah, we really
would
love
buy
it.
that.
We vet it.
Yeah.
I'm
That is a big
really
deal.
wearing MeUndies right now.
Oh, tell me less.
too.
Tell
Me
me
too.
less. Oh, both of you.
And that makes them our undies.
Will you please tell the story about John getting more pair than you?
I'm still mad about this.
I'm wearing 2. Right
no,
now.
just to
2
spite
pairs.
Because I can.
Because I have so many. I just covered
Gosh,
up.
that
It's
is
cold
so-
outside.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
funny.
they. I mean, like I have been. They're getting a plug, and they didn't even ask for it. But I've been wearing that brand for forever. I love them.
Yeah.
I love them. They have great socks. Their whole thing is great. And so there's no better moment than when the ad team reached out and goes, "Hey guys, we have so and so." Like and you're like, "Oh my god!" I'm like,
Yeah.
"This is already in my life."
Yes.
And then we can get some more, and then we partner with. And so they had reached out, and I was like, let's get some just to try them out, knowing like I'm wearing them right now.
Which I will say, I had never worn them, and I had another brand that I
You
swore
were
by.
you were loyal to.
I was
And
loyal to
then
for years.
Victoria's Secret closed.
Yeah.
And what could you do?
Yes.
And it would cut off the blood
Oh,
to your
boy.
legs.
Oh,
I was always so interested.
It was always just the right leg.
yeah, and
though.
you'd limp. You'd always
Yep.
spin and walk in circles naturally.
Oh, boy.
Um,
Okay, so you had
but-
another brand you were loyal to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he got these.
I don't want to mention the name. It's still a great
No,
brand.
It's
sure,
an
sure, but
amazing
you
brand.
got your MeUndies.
But I had like 60 pair of this other brand because I was like, this is the only brand that I wear.
Hold on. Do you have 60 pair of underwear?
John never wears them twice.
I throw them. I gift them.
There's on the dark web. If you go to johnmclaughlin.com.
It's the lighter side of the dark web. That's our slogan.
the lighter side.
I just can't. I can't fathom a person owning 60 pair of underwear.
No, it's
2
not.
months
It's
without
not really
laundry.
60,
He said
but
16.
it probably is.
Oh.
It probably is like 25 pair,
Oh, wow.
maybe 30 pair.
Okay. Wow. You
Yeah.
are a survivor.
It is just.
You could be out in the.
it's a
He's
plethora.
also he walks rough, so he has a way of walking that really fatigues
Really,
the
yeah.
underwear.
I don't chafe the underwear
Fatigue.
chafes itself.
He has a lot of fires.
Oh.
So anyway, MeUndies reaches out, and I'm like, hey, I've heard of MeUndies
Yeah.
on all the other podcasts that I've listened to. I already have a brand,
Yeah.
right? But one day I try them on, and I'm like, I love these.
Well, then it gets outed. Like this has been months ago,
And they kept sending me pairs,
and they kept sending John pairs, and
different
so
colors, and
he
I'm like,
drops
I
it
love
just
'em.
nonchalantly on our Slack channel. And he's like, "Oh yeah, man, they keep sending me these pairs. I love them." And I was like, "Wait, what? They keep sending you pairs?" And then I was like, I just lit the Slack channel on fire.
For
I was
sure.
like, "Everybody, I am not getting more pairs. John is getting more pairs."
I mean, did you see Dave circle back around? Did anybody notice that I asked if I could have more MeUndies?
I know nobody responded.
I was like, I just want to. I'm jumping back in here
Yeah,
just to kind of ring the bell again.
Was that mute? Did I mute myself when I typed
I was
that?
like, come on, guys.
So where do we go from here? What's next for Dadville? I mean, first 100 is done and down. What happens for the next 100?
So many milestones right now, guys.
Yeah,
I
I
just
know.
turned 40 yesterday.
I know,
and
I know.
We just hit 100 episodes.
Yeah. I'm really excited. I mean, I think the thing that is so fun about this as a medium, just podcasting, is you really can do anything. And I think
Yep.
what I get excited about, I think it's safe to say John does too, we've talked about this, is now kind of going, okay, what are new ways to sort of explore the space?
Yeah.
I can be this is very true of my personality, which is funny because I don't know that people would think this because being in the creative space, occupationally, but I'm very much a first child rule follower, and I tend to be like, just tell me what to do and I will do that.
Yeah.
And so I think I think John and I have laughed because just with it being called Dadville, it trends one way, but I think just knowing that it doesn't, it could be Dadville because we're dads.
Yes.
And then
yes.
we interview a dolphin trainer. It
Sure.
doesn't need to be that's really, be honest.
I don't know
that's a
why
dream.
you
Again,
spoiled
that's
that
a
one.
dream
Everybody
trainer.
knew.
It's
I'm so
always the
sorry.
dolphin.
It
There's
is
a dolphin
always.
trainer down in Tampa that
And
Dave has had his eye on.
obsessed. I mean, I'm dropping in them DMs all the time, and so and that's dolphin messages too. If anybody's, if
I
anybody,
knew
You're not
we
even
had
talking
one more.
about
I knew we had
Instagram.
one more there.
John knows he saw the pause. He's like,
Did
he's
you
going
knew
somewhere.
he was writing one in his
He's
head?
going somewhere.
Yeah.
Dave.
That was
That's kind of cool.
I know, it was.
Right?
We're slowly avataring into one person.
Yeah, we are. Hey, how about once this episode is over,
Okay.
our 100th episode, right?
What?
I say we go on a taco
What?
run.
Okay, I'm done. Are you inside? I feel like you've crawled inside my head, and you're
We're-
just like, you know,
We're
exactly.
becoming one
I'm
person.
telling you, that's exactly what I was thinking,
Yeah,
John.
yeah. And you might not know this, Dave, but I'm kind of an elite taco influencer.
Oh,
Okay? That
okay.
being said, let's tell everyone about Tacos for Life. Go.
TFL, I call it that,
Uh-huh.
but it's Tacos for Life, is a taco shop on a mission. For every taco, rice bowl, salad, quesadilla, or nacho sold, a meal is provided for a child in need.
You had me at quesadilla, Dave, which is taco's more distinguished cousin. in my
Oh, I
opinion.
forget. Yeah, when you eat Tacos for Life, not only do you provide a meal to a hungry kid, but you also get to enjoy muy bueno tacos.
Muy bueno. Look, we're looking for 2 types of people to join us in the fight to end world hunger. Tell them, Dave.
All right, here we go. Whether you are one, someone looking to invest in a business that makes a good return while also making a difference in the world, or 2, you are someone who wants to run a restaurant where you can be proud of the food you're serving while also doubling down on the impact you're making, we can help you.
Visit tacosforlife.com/dadville to learn more about opening your very own Tacos for Life and be a part of bringing forth a world where no child goes hungry.
No, but you know, I think I get excited because it feels like we've established a really good foundation, and now
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fun to think about kind of where it can go. And I do. I mean, I know we've talked about this, but I really want to do some live ones. I think it'd be really fun to take it on the road.
I do too. We were just talking about this before we started because you're going out on tour. I don't know if I can say that.
Yeah,
but,
that's you can say that much.
I can.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously, Dave and I have toured music-wise, you know, for years and years and years. So the idea of taking this out on the road, it's an idea that comes up. Our wives bring it up all the time. I don't know why.
They're like, would both of y'all like to go on the road?
Y'all should leave.
Y'all
Y'all should go together.
Oh, and
now.
also
Go
just do
and then book
Dadville.
it.
Yeah, do that too. Maybe when you're gone.
Yeah.
But definitely leave, and then figure the rest out.
But I think that would be a blast.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's
And I
things
don't
like
exactly
that.
know what that looks like, but
Yeah.
I think it would be really
I've
fun.
dreamed about what live Dadvilles look like. Like
Really?
the idea of y'all doing music and having a guest and
Yeah.
do it like, because both of you tour already and sing. So, you know, doing something where I have lots of thoughts about what y'all could look like on the road.
And when I'm getting ready to go out on a tour. There are tickets available at johnmcl.com. But
Yeah,
when I
on
go
the light
out,
web, not the dark web. You're gonna
Yeah.
find
this is the darker side of the light web.
Yeah.
When people comment
landed
about
that.
the podcast, it for some reason it's just like I just love it the most. Like someone
Yeah.
can say like, "Hey, I just heard whatever song, I love it." That's always great. But when they mention the podcast, for some reason, I don't know if it's because I know that it's it's more of a time commitment to listen to it, or it's just a deeper kind of thing. Even though my music's layered and deep,
and it's also a time commitment.
and it's a time commitment, it means the world to me. So taking it out on the road would just be
Yeah, I had a guy. And this happened a few times, but I had a guy at a Nashville SC.
Yeah.
At the first game at the new park, a couple months ago, and I was walking through to get something to eat or drink, and he grabbed me and was like, "Hey, man!" And I was ready for like the love your music, and he's like, "Man, I love Dadville," and I was like, and it was like so much. I mean,
It
you know,
means so much, doesn't it?
it does.
Every
It was
time.
like I just
know.
wanted to ask him a million questions, but I could tell he was like, "I don't want this to last long in this." And I was like, "Oh yeah, you should go." And we'll do autographs later. Okay, big guy.
You know, I wonder if part of it is when someone comments about your music, I feel like I have to, you be gracious. It does make me feel good, but you feel like you have to deflect.
Yeah.
And like,
Why?
I don't know. It's too focused on me. But when someone says something about Dadville, it's like, I feel like I can enjoy this
Yeah,
with
that's
you.
that- really well
because
said.
it's both of y'all?
Yeah, when it's guests.
Well, because it's like I don't feel like Dadville is something I am creating and I'm putting it out, and any admiration or good that comes from it has to come back to me. I don't feel like that. I just feel like Dadville is this thing that I'm so honored and grateful to be a part of. And if someone says, "I loved the Sissy Goff episode," I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I did too."
Me too. Right.
Yeah, and we can
I
talk
know
about
that
it.
well, and there's
feeling,
not.
yeah.
It's a different kind of ownership if I can even use that term. You know what I mean? It's not. It's just such a. I don't know. Yeah, it's not something that I feel like is me or mine or
Yes.
even me and
Yes.
John's. So when people compliment it, I want to talk about it. I'm like, which one? Oh my
Yes.
God, wasn't that great? Because
Yes.
it's probably about the guest or what they have to say or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, something necessarily we did. So it does make it a little more, it's more easy to enjoy. It's why I think like it's so fun when you see musical artists that do a project or like do a band thing and then they're so excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
Where like you try to talk about their music and like, I don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about that thing I did with my buddies and how fun,
Yeah.
because I just think it's easier in the communal sense to celebrate something because you don't feel that shame.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I shouldn't be proud of this. And it's all that.
Yeah. What's the best thing about hosting with John?
There's too many things. I think one of the things that I really appreciate about John that I tell him all the time is his questions. Like he'll come in when we prep for shows. Mine are like, is it true that you grew up there? And how hot is it really though? It's like I'm much more
Really though.
I'm much more like in the moment, and I laughed yesterday when I came on the girls the snack time.
Yeah. It's called the snack show.
The snack show. I call
Came
it
on the
snack
snack time.
Came on a snack time. And we sat down and they were both like, okay, did you get the questions? I was like, no. And they were like, are you not prepared? I was like, no. And I'm like, no, this is me at my strongest. Ask me a question and watch me go. And they had me do the pitch and I was like, let's go.
Right.
I hadn't thought about it at all.
Right.
That's actually probably me at my best.
Yeah.
So I'm more like, let's get into it and we'll start rolling and I'll go. But John will come in with these questions that are so thoughtful and like so emotionally articulate and enunciated and I always read them and I'm like, God, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I also really appreciate, like, I think he sort of lets me spread my wings where I could see other hosts that are like, that's enough. That is enough. Okay, of you. That's enough. Look at me, Dave. Calm down. And so John is just so good to sort of like let me chase the whimsy. And he's one of my funniest friends.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be some moment that I can't get it together. And it's, John's an assassin, so it's quiet and it's precise.
Yeah.
And it's just
the
a
light
one
side of the
shot.
dark web
it's
is a perfect example. Yes.
And so I think it brings me a lot of joy to, and I think too, it's fun to do it together because it's fun to feel together in an idea. You know what I mean? Like to have a purpose you're trying to achieve. Because really what we're trying to do, I hope, is really celebrate being a dad and the things about that. And so it's so fun to sit with a friend and do it where it doesn't feel like you're just like, oh, I'm trying to push this thing up the hill by myself,
Mm-hmm.
What about you, John? What's the
favorite thing about you, John?
Oh my gosh, no. What's the best thing about leading with Dave?
Jeez. No, the most obvious and easiest seeming answer is really the truth. Dave is hilarious. And people who don't know Dave personally but know that we're friends who ask about him, I'm like, if you've been to a Dave Barnes show, like that's Dave.
Yeah.
There is
right.
no like he's not backstage like doing breathing exercises to sort of embody some kind of character.
Right.
Like that's just Dave on stage, like just stumbling on stage, that's him. And so for me, for my personality, kind of what you described, like those are our strengths. Like I like to just sit in a dark room and think about what questions should we ask. And then once the podcast starts, Dave is doing most of the heavy lifting of the pace of the conversation, sort of the vibe of that conversation, and it's so great for me because that would be exhausting lifting for me.
Yeah.
But that's Dave's strength to do that, and just the levity of it. But we're also we're both committed to really having a real conversation. Like we really want to talk about some of these things about life and parenting. And it's just the best just hanging. Like we said the other day when I was having a rough week and we did those ads, like it just actually has a function in my life that actually makes my life better.
Yeah, I agree.
Hanging with Dave,
Yeah.
Which I think is probably the same. I think what I love about doing this podcast with Dave is the reason why a lot of our listeners listen, because it's like you're hanging with Dave Barnes, and I think, Dave and I are not coming at every issue or question or topic from the same angle, which I really love.
Yes.
I love that he'll see things differently than I see things, and I think it makes for better conversations on air and off air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well said.
What do you? I'm going to flip around one of your questions to y'all. What do you hope the listener remembers about you as a host of Dadville?
That's a great question. My first question was that I mean well.
That's good. That's good. I hope they remember that I mean
no
well.
matter what happens.
Yeah.
That I really mean well. God, that's a good question, Annie.
Yeah, I've never thought about that.
I do think. I mean, there's some sincerity to that. I think that they know our intent is to kind of what I said before, like to really celebrate fathers and dads and the power of that, but also the service involved and how hard it is, but to create more community around that, that there's some sense of like those dads out there aren't alone and trying to do, the best that we all can. Yeah, I think that's probably some version of it, just that what we're trying to achieve at least.
Yeah, I would hope that someone listening to all 100 episodes of Dadville walk away getting like a sense of like, I would hope they would get like the full scope of what it means to be a human being and a parent, and like the curiosity that we have for our guests and the curiosity we have in trying to be the best parents that we can be and the best friends that we can be and the best, just people we can be. And, not to get too churchy, but I mean, hopefully they can feel like the security and the love of being a child of God,
Yeah.
I think, too, something that really humbles me is I think at some point it's also hopefully a gift to our kids.
Oh, wow.
That like someday, if as mad as they will get or as disconnected as they may feel, they're like, listen to this. I can hear that, again, they meant well. Like
when I was 7,
there you go.
they were trying.
And so I think
Dave, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I'd never thought about that until a few months ago, and I was driving thinking about it, and I was like, holy cow, like this is going to be something that Luke and Livy and my 3 can like pull up. I mean, honestly, after we're dead too. I mean, it's like it's I think that about our music all the
dark.
time.
You turn 40, start talking about.
But like it's near the end, and but you know what I mean. Just that I man, that gives me so much joy because it's like even if I'm gonna drop the ball and do some things I don't mean to do. End of the day, there's 100 things so far they can hear of the intent.
Yeah.
That is not to say that it was executed.
Yes.
But the intent was there. That like there was never a want for trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I love that. I'm like, if that is it, if that's the only reason that I did this, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Because that is a catalog of things that my kids can go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Man, he was trying,
What do you think about that, John?
I like you said, I had never really thought about that, and for some reason I don't really think about. For some reason I don't think about like legacy and like all that. But yeah, I mean, I hope when they listen to it at some point when they start diving into these 100+ hours, I would be like at the other side of the door, like waiting, like, okay, what did you think?
Yeah.
What's your impression?
Johnny. John? Oh, that's right. I guess he had to split because he's on tour right now like a big shot. Anyways, I'm here to tell you guys and gals about the incredible new season of The Chosen. The wait is over. The Chosen Season 3 begins in theaters November 18th. This season's theme is Come to Me, all you who are weary and heavy burdened, and I will give you rest, which is Matthew 11:28. And I know what you're thinking, Dave, but I already know how the story goes. Okay, maybe that's true, but this season, the most consequential and emotional chapter yet, picks up right where Season 2 left off, but turns up the heat. And I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but here are a few highlights. Both followers and enemies of Jesus multiply, stirring new troubles, tensions, and tough questions, many of which you've no doubt asked yourself. But in the midst of upheaval, Jesus gives rest. I mean, come on, how great does that sound, right, guys? Episodes 1 and 2 will begin in theaters starting November 18th, and episodes will start releasing for free in the Chosen app before Christmas. For more information, visit thechosentickets.com. benevolent.com. It's a really, I mean, small, quick aside, but like, you think about our music, and like, it is crazy to think that both of our kids, I mean, Cowart was our first friend, my first friend that ever brought that up a long time ago about how we're leaving a digital legacy.
Yes.
You know, with the internet, how I mean, he was like one of the first guys that ever
he was
even
talking
thought
about
that
early. Yeah, I remember.
Way early in the internet days. Like, but it's like, it gets really heavy. Like, I get really emotional thinking about it, but like that, you know, forget podcasts, but just with our music, that like our kids literally, like, after we're gone, can pull up that stuff and listen.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Like, I don't know that. John doesn't know that. Like, that's not what our parents did. And it's not where music was.
Yeah.
And now it's like there's these little pieces of us that they can always have access to.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think about. Like, it really gets me like teary because I'm like, you know, could you imagine if you're missing your dad?
And you can just listen to him. Yeah.
Well, and really, like we were saying, how all of our guests have said some version of how they really want their kids to know them and feel like they were known by them and all that. Yeah. And I was reading, Amy wrote me this letter for my birthday last night, and I was reading it, and I was thinking in that moment, I was like, I hope that the girls someday, or their kids, find this letter. Because there's so much in this that you can be like, oh, that's like a peek behind the curtain to know like a deeper level of who these people were, who were my parents.
Yeah. So are you going to read that to us now, the whole letter?
Yeah. So September 27th.
Did y'all go eat somewhere fun for dinner?
We ate at the house.
Yeah.
With the girls.
Oh, that's really sweet.
We're going out tonight.
Yeah. Where are you going? Somewhere great?
Rolf and Daughters.
Yeah.
R&D's.
Of course.
And you know what's hilarious? You know what time our reservation is?
5:30.
5:30.
Is it really?
Yes.
You want to listen? This is a whole other thing, but I mean, you know, it's bad. I slept so bad the other night because I ate dinner at like 8:30. And I like my little Aura ring.
Yes.
If you guys want to sponsor us, please jump
Yes.
on Aura ring. We are available. It was like, man, you must like. I got up the next morning, was like looking at the sleep tracker. It's like, you must have eaten pretty late last night because you did not sleep well because your body was like, right now. Right
you
now,
must
like,
have eaten like a 34-year-old.
Oh my gosh! Who are you, you wild stallion?
Also, this is how I know we're all 40 plus as of you officially yesterday. When you say 5:30, let me tell you all the things I hear. Not only will my body be happier, parking will be easier.
Oh my god!
We'll be home in time.
This is the next hour of this conversation, Annie. So this morning we dropped the girls off at school, and Amy mentioned something about tonight, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so excited about tonight." Hey, what time is our reservation? And she said 5:30, and I was like, "Yes."
I know.
Man!
And then
Home
I
by
said,
8,
"Gosh,
maybe.
we are so old."
Is it? I mean,
5:30.
maybe.
I'm the guy that's like, is it too dark in here? Also, why is everybody so loud? That's the age I am.
And then you
why
get
is
home,
everyone so loud?
and your babysitter is leaving,
To
and
go to
you
dinner.
are almost asleep, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm meeting some friends, and
for
then we're
sure.
gonna go today."
Right now.
What? It's almost 10 o'clock.
You are off
you
the
crazy?
rails.
Do you know that tomorrow comes? Do you know you have to do
Soon.
something tomorrow?
In 2 hours, it is tomorrow, child.
Yes. I mean, it is. A 5:30 dinner sounds like a dream.
Perfect.
We went to, some friends and I from college went to Fifth and Taylor the other night, and it was a 7 o'clock, and I was like, "Oh boy!"
this is
And then I was
Okay.
like, "Annie, no."
We are living on the edge.
And
You
it is
immediately
so
start thinking
dark in
about
there.
what you need to do to prep. Okay, so snack at 4.
Right. Because also, if I'm starting at 7, I don't want to linger. I still want to be home before 9.
That's the that's the other problem is that you're doing the math and like now I can't really just get into it because I'm gonna be like that's great. Okay, we got
Exactly. But if I start at 5:30, I know I'm home before 8.
Oh my god.
But we still linger. Y'all are still going to get to linger.
Yeah.
The waiter is going to be focused.
All about the pace of the night.
Yeah. I'm so thrilled for you.
Yeah. Way to go.
I'm gonna send you guys a picture of our parking spot.
Please. Oh, it's going to
right
be
up
great.
front.
It's going to be great. Your biggest concern is the traffic getting there because everyone else is going home from work.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
But that's your
true.
biggest concern,
Yeah.
which is I'll take that concern all day long versus getting home at 10.
They're like, your waiter's not here because he's still logging in. He's still clocking in. They're putting on their little outfit as they're.
That's
God,
right.
you
In
guys
the
were here.
second.
Jeez, okay, right at
Yeah,
5:30.
you're like, glad
My
we made it
gosh.
5:30. We're the only people in the
They haven't
buildings.
cooked anything yet, but we do have a light menu of what's left over from last night.
Oh, 40s, man. I'll take it. Better in the 30s. You're going to love it. Welcome.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah, I think so. Do you think so? You've got a couple of.
Yeah.
You got 2 years on me, right? You're 44?
44, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome, but
It's awesome.
it is different.
It
Everybody
is different.
talks about how the sort of ease of just being more and more yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that part's great. Let me give you a heads up.
Here we go.
You're more and more yourself, and also your body is less and less this body that you know.
Yeah.
You're more like, you just broke?
Yeah.
Wait,
I
what?
was going to say, you can speak to that intimately.
Yeah. You broke? You're supposed to, cars don't break, So that's been the two waves have been, oh, I'm so much more comfortable in my body. What is my body doing?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I just miss sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep has changed,
Yeah.
as has like worries.
I mean, y'all
and-
haven't slept in 12 years or so.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember those days.
Worries? You have more worries?
Well, you got kids, you
Yeah.
got provision, you got.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Dadville. Here we go.
Yes.
It's like you just more stuff to worry about.
And you start thinking of college.
Oh God.
And
I mean,
weddings.
Jeez Louise. So that it's a great trade because again, hopefully you're starting to settle into life.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
been but you're also like, there's a storm coming. You're like, I was not prepared for this. This is a new storm.
It's always a new storm. Always looks a little different.
Yeah.
Over here in Dadville. That's the theme for
Yes.
Dadville. There's always a new storm.
always
That's
a
what the
storm
sign
on the
would say as
horizon.
Yeah.
we come into the city.
Either
Dadville.
everybody's got parents or there's always a new storm brewing.
Mayor David Thomas.
Yeah.
Also therapist. Call him as soon as you get into the city limits.
That's right.
Immediately reach out to him.
Guys, what do we not say about Dadville that you want to say?
Nothing.
100.
I want to say this. I do want to say this to people who are listening and you've made it this far.
Yeah.
Like we are so thankful.
Yes.
It gives, I mean, John and I have already spoken to it, but it gives both of us so much joy.
Yes.
So much joy to know that people are in it with us. And as John, as you said earlier, it really is something we get to enjoy corporately. This is
Yes.
not, we enjoy it, I think, like a lot of people
Yes.
do, I hope.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
it feels very communal and satisfying to know that. So we're thrilled that
And
people
would
do it.
Dadville even be out in the world if it weren't for Annie
AD.
Downs?
Well,
AFD. Come on.
Yes,
don't know.
you'd have figured it out, I bet.
I don't
Come
know.
on.
Wow.
Would we?
No, I can almost say without doubt we would have gotten to 14 episodes and it would have gone away.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
9.
And you and Annie would have stopped by every now and then and been like, you guys still
You guys
got those episodes? And
podcasting?
we've been like, yeah, we're trying to figure out how to put them out.
Oh God.
That was a year
Okay.
of conversation.
Oh,
I mean,
Yeah.
y'all know this. You are one of the 2 shows we built That Sounds Fun Network for. I mean, that when we were dreaming this up, we thought, well, there's Dadville and there's Emily P. Freeman, and
Yeah.
that will be enough for us. And so all the rest of them are so great, but it was, it was. For
it
y'all.
really
the
it has
empire
been
you
such a
built.
good example to me of how things can go well with the right people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it's been such a great fit and y'all been great.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
So great.
and I think we both, I mean, I can't speak for John, but I know for me, I needed, especially with something like a podcast,
Yeah.
I needed something to partner with because, we're professional artists. So
Yes.
it's like, like we can give it a lot of time, but
Yeah.
definitely not the time that it
Yeah.
deserves. And
I mean,
so-
the cool thing to think about is tens of thousands of people listen to this.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is not a small number of friends on the other side of this, and y'all are impacting
Which
so
that
many
moment, doesn't it
people.
get a little harrowing all of a sudden? You're like, wait, what did you just say?
Yes.
And I'm like,
Y'all
does
have...
that mean I'm
Is this
accountable?
a cape? Did I bring
Oh my
this?
gosh, you're scared and you're a hero.
Oh, see? We go 2 different
This is why
separate
this is
routes.
That's why
great.
John's got 2 pairs
This
of
is why
underwear
this
on.
is
One
great.
is his
That's right.
Superman underwear.
It was a cape.
One is the Clark Kent and one is the Superman.
Oh, y'all. Well, congrats. 100 of Dadville.
Well,
Thank
not
you
only
for
thanks
having
for
us.
interviews, but thank you for
Yes.
hosting our podcast.
Well,
and
of course. What a
continuing to
treat.
water it and prune and
yes,
watch it grow.
listen, I think the way y'all serve families is such an honor that our network gets to be a part of that. So
Yeah, thanks.
we are really grateful. Well done, dudes. Let's do 100 more.
All right, here we
And
go.
peace.